Welcome to the Seven Figure Leaders podcast. This podcast was created to celebrate the success stories of seven-figure business owners, giving them a platform to share their insights and lessons learned in order to inspire other business owners. As well as that, it's an opportunity to build new connections. So if you're a seven-figure business owner or someone who works with seven-figure business owners and you're looking for introductions to potential stakeholders, strategic partners and clients, I'd love to hear from you or have you on as a guest and see if I can help make those connections for you. Just go to synergycfosolutions.co. That's synergycfosolutions.co and click podcast. And there you'll find the link to apply. So today we've got Eric Lewis, founder and managing director of Vocallity Group. How are you doing today, Eric?
Yeah, very well, thanks. How are you?
Good, thanks. Pleasure to have you on. So best place to start, why don't you give us a little bit of a background as to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, okay. So as you said, my name's Eric Lewis. I'm the founder and managing director of Vocallity. Vocallity is a business-to-business telecoms provider. I think the important thing to say on the off is that what differentiates us is we don't only provide telecom services. Coming from a background in business myself, having done many company turnarounds and help companies grow, recognize that there's a need for a provider that understands how to integrate telecoms as part of the wider business perspective. A lot of people just think of a phone as something that you answer to communicate with other people, but it's not. It's far more than that. If you integrate it properly with your business, it actually becomes one of the most important tools in your armory to increase sales, increase productivity, improve engagement with your customers and stakeholders. My background is originally in engineering, then in technology.
Okay, and so how did you get to running Vocallity?
I was involved in helping businesses in turnaround situations, and I got involved with a networking company who needed help to basically turn themselves around completely. As part of that, I got offered by someone that they knew who had to retire from the comms business. He was unwell, and I got offered the customer base, which I turned down, but did take over some of the customers, the profitable ones, and founded Vocallity as a cloud services provider. So it was in the sort of not early days of VoIP, but it's 10 years ago now when VoIP was just starting to be adopted. Previous to that, I had done some consultancy for Cisco in the very early days of VoIP, so I appreciated the opportunity that VoIP presented, and started up Vocallity with one particular product, and then got approached by another company new on the scene who were looking for resellers and people who understood what VoIP is and what business is all about. And we became their first reseller. The company's Telco Switch. We were their first reseller and are now their premier reseller. And that's helped us grow, and we've helped them grow, and we've helped our customers grow as well.
Okay, and so who exactly do you help? What's your ideal client?
That's the ideal client is anyone, but be it a sole trader right up to a company with hundreds of, I won't say users, but hundreds of employees who are looking to engage with their customers. We're not so much about, being the biggest telecoms provider out there. We built our reputation on being the best. And that's something that we hold very dear to our hearts. Our customers constantly say what fantastic service they get. And the reason is because we get to know them, we get to understand their businesses, and we implement systems that help them grow their businesses. And I think that's very important, rather than just send a phone out and say, right, plug it in, or here's an app. It's right, how are you going to use it? How is it going to integrate with the business? Right, you've not got to change your business to suit the system, but how can we build a system to suit you?
Mm-hmm. So let's say I'm a solopreneur or a small business and I have 5 people in the office or working remotely. What would you do for me to help me get set up with my communication system?
Well, the first thing we want to know is, how do you actually communicate with your customers at the moment? Do you have a CRM system? Do you have a database, a customer database? how can we make that work more effectively for you? Do you want to record calls? Do you want to be able to identify who your customer is when they phone up? Do you want pop screens? Are you office based? So do you need a handset? Or if you're a mobile worker, will the app suffice? So we can provide a whole range of solutions, but it's getting to know you and getting to know your business rather than just saying, right, here it is, off you go.
Mm-hmm. And what's the benefit of actually using, say, a VoIP system versus just having a mobile phone in my hand?
It separates your personal life from your business life. So lots of people work with a mobile phone and they're constantly getting called all hours of the day and night. So that's their personal life. We provide us, our systems enable you to separate business from pleasure, have automated call recordings, automated voicemail, so you can actually say, right, it's 5 o'clock, which lots of small businesses don't. So their business life impinges on their private life. But, after 5 or 7 o'clock, you may not want to take a call. You may do. It depends on how you work. But we can set you up with voicemail. We can set you up with alternative call routing. So if you're a 5 to 6 person company and you're out of the office, who do you want to take your calls? Where do you want them to go? Just make you more effective and more efficient, but also give you some of your me time back.
Yeah. And so you would integrate that system with, say, a CRM system and things like WhatsApp. Can you integrate with WhatsApp for Business and that sort of thing?
We can to an extent. WhatsApp is very proprietary, so they won't give us full access at the moment. It's something we're speaking, or us and our developers are speaking to them about. But we can certainly link through with Outlook, Microsoft Exchange, Zoho, HubSpot, any of those main CRMs.
Okay. And is it UK focused, just UK?
No, we're international. So we've got customers from India to the Bahamas and Bermuda.
Great. Okay. And so diving in then, changing paths a little bit and going back to the kind of the journey you've been on since you founded the business. What have you faced along the way that you weren't expecting challenge-wise, and how did you kind of overcome those things?
I think that one of the biggest challenges is explaining to people what VoIP is and how it's going to change their business. People aren't going to be given a choice as to whether they want to go VoIP or not. The big switch off, which has now been delayed by about 13 months, is happening. So you will have to move to VoIP. And it's an opportunity as a business to actually change and improve the way you work, make yourselves more efficient. The other threat to a business, of course, is VoIP is internet-based. So what happens if your internet goes down? With traditional telephony, everybody knew there were wires coming through the ground. They came up to your phone rang. Very rarely went down. Internet is a little bit more, it goes down more than anyone would like, but we can provide a solution that gets around that. So if you can't take your call in the office, then you can take it on your mobile, on the app. So it's a process of education, and it's been a bit of a slow slog, but everybody's aware of it now.
And when you say the big switch off and the big switch, you're basically saying that all phones are moving to VoIP? Yes.
Yeah. I think it's January 2027 now is the switch off date. So it's been managed by Ofcom. So Openreach are moving everybody over to fiber to the premises or fiber to the cabinet telephony. So the new technology is called SAGEA, Single Order Generic Ethernet Access, which replaces your traditional broadband circuit. So all telephone numbers will move into the cloud. So your broadband won't be telephone based; it'll be purely Ethernet based.
I see. So in layman's terms, there's no more landlines, and it's all going to be on broadband.
Yeah. So think of your landline number now as a geographic number that can go with you anywhere in the world. So you could be, for all I know, you could be sitting in the States now and speaking to me on one of our video calls, because we've got video calling as well. And because it's internet based, it's a free call. So, yeah.
Okay, Great. Sounds simple. And so what's been your process of actually acquiring clients, finding people and, explaining to them how this works and why it's important that they have this sort of system set up instead of just having, the mobile phone or a normal landline?
It's referrals primarily. We started off, we were lucky in that we did have a small customer base who we've gradually grown, moved over to VoIP from traditional telephony. So got away from the big switches that hang on the wall, and now it's all internet based. And I'd say that 80% of our business comes through referrals. We're very proud of the service we offer. We're very, we're very customer focused, and our customers refer people they know to us, which is a great way to get business. It's the best way.
Yeah. And so getting started, obviously it must have taken a while for you to get to the point where, you reached a big enough number of clients the first couple of years or however long that was. How did you actually get started?
Well, as I said, I was fortunate enough to be given a small customer base. And so we took them over. And when I brought my co-director, Mark, on board, he already had quite a nice customer base down in Dorset. And through putting those two customer bases together, that gave us the got us on the first rung of the ladder. And through referrals from them, we've grown and grown and grown. So I think we've got lots of sole traders, a couple of thousand sole traders, right up to one company, which is a big multinational, customers all over Europe.
Okay. And something we talked about when we first spoke was there was someone else in the room and they sort of asked why somebody would work with you instead of going with one of the online providers. And you mentioned that you actually offer better pricing than many of the online providers and better service. Is that right?
Yeah, we're UK based, which is the important thing. A lot of the online providers are not UK based, and they don't give you the dedicated support. So we aim, if there's an issue or a customer comes to us, we normally aim to get things resolved in a couple of hours. If it's in our control, if it's outside of our control, obviously not, like if there's a major broadband outage, something like that. But we're dedicated to customer service, and price is important. But if I was an end user, I'd look at the price, but I'd also think, well, what happens? What support am I going to get? Because I could go cheap, and then think, okay, I'm not getting the service. Or I could. I'm not saying we're expensive. We're not the cheapest. We're certainly not the most expensive. But we believe and we're told that we give the best customer service of any telecoms company that our customers are.
Sorry, I think just cracked up a bit there. And so how big is your team now who actually service all these clients?
So we've got a support team of up to about 9 people. There's 3 of us in sales and 2 guys out on the road if they need to be. But we very rarely have to go to customer site.
So there's a lot to keep on top of, and you're overseeing the whole thing and you're managing the whole thing.
Yeah, myself and Mark, my co-director. Yeah.
Okay. And from a financial perspective, do you have someone in house that helps you kind of stay on track, understand the numbers, review them, kind of know what you're doing next, or do you do that?
So one thing's, having done a few company turnarounds for investors, one thing that I'm very, very focused on is cash flow forecasts and what's in the bank, what's coming in, modeling future cash flow scenarios and knowing exactly where we are to make sure that we're profitable. And we've just had our accounts done for 2022-23, and they looked very, very healthy.
Good. And so what's next for Vocallity? What growth plans have you got in mind?
We just want to maintain steady growth. We don't want to sort of grow so fast that we can't maintain that growth. I'm a firm believer in steady, measured growth rather than sort of suddenly, you gain 3,000 customers and you can't sustain it. So it's got to be sustainable, manageable growth within our cash, with managing cash flows.
Definitely. Okay, great. Well, sounds exciting. And so for anyone out there who is not really sure what they're doing with their phones, which I would say is probably most people, what message would you have to them?
Give us a call. We're here to help. We understand business. I think the difference between us and a lot of other companies is we come from a business background. We've owned companies, we've bought companies, sold companies, done company turnarounds. We understand how important it is to engage with your customers and your stakeholders. So speak with us and let us work with you to help you.
Okay, great. Well, we'll make it very easy for people to get in contact with you. We'll put your LinkedIn and your website in the show notes. Anything else you want to share with the audience?
If you're running your own business, just make sure you stay on top of the finances. It's very, very easy to think things are going ever so well, but as you know, as a CFO yourself, ex-CFO, you've got to manage your finances. That's key to any business.
I completely agree with that, and yeah, as you said, that's my thing. So, have you got any experiences you'd like to share of things where, not necessarily in your business, but in yours or anyone else's, where you've realized that is extremely important?
If you are going to get investment, and a lot of companies do go for external investment, make sure that you stick to your business plan. If you're not going to match your business plan, make sure you let your investors know very early on in the process. Get them to work with you, and it doesn't matter whether that's friends and family, because it's still an investment, up to institutional investors. Many times it goes wrong. You get a big cash injection and suddenly spend it all, and you think everything's going to be hunky-dory, but then your cash flow dries up. So make sure you keep on top of things, keep in touch with your investors, keep speaking to them, and also look at innovative ways of funding cash flow if you need to. There are, you've got cheap money, which is some of the government-backed loans, and you've got expensive money, which is very accessible, like iWalker, places like that, the online platforms, which is good for managing short-term cash flow requirements. But if you're looking at long-term, then go for the cheaper money and go for go for some of the government-backed loans. I think there's a new one out now, that Funding Circle pushing.
Yeah, thanks for that. And on your point about raising money and making sure you know where you're spending it, the interesting timing there, because I'm actually working with someone at the moment who's looking to raise a bit of money. They're looking to raise about $1 million, and kind of in the initial documentation that they sent over to me to review and kind of improve, there was no explanation of what's actually going to happen to that $1 million once it flows into the business. So they sort of said, we want $1 million to grow the business, but then no further explanation as to what it be used for. So obviously that's something that needs to be broken down very clearly, in terms of so that the investors can see how long that money is going to last and when it can start producing a return.
Well, basically, you need a business plan.
Yeah.
Any business should have a business plan. It doesn't matter if you're looking, in my opinion, it doesn't matter whether you're looking for investment or not. You need something that you can measure your performance against, something that you should review regularly, either with yourself if you're a sole trader. And it doesn't have to be a great, huge document, but at least have some sort of roadmap that you can return to, that you can modify if necessary. But at least know, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. But
yeah, brilliant. All right, Eric. Well, pleasure to have you on the podcast, and wishing you and Vocallity all the best over the next few years.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Cheers. Thanks for listening. As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, this podcast was created to celebrate the success stories of seven-figure business owners, giving them a platform to share their insights and lessons learned in order to inspire other business owners. As well as that, it's an opportunity to build new connections. So if you're a seven-figure business owner or someone who works with seven-figure business owners and you're looking for introductions to potential stakeholders, strategic partners and clients, I'd love to hear from you or have you on as a guest and see if I can help make those connections for you. Just go to synergycfosolutions.co. That's synergycfosolutions.co and click podcast. On that page, you'll find the link to apply.